Hello, hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello. That was I don't know if the microphone caught that. It was the neighbours. Hello. By now, if you've watched any of my content, you'll know that I'm completely bereft of ideas. Not a single original thought passes between my ears these days. And the good thing about the YouTube is behind the gilded rope in the content creator area. Content creator. There's all manner of AI tools that will suggest topics to you. And I was there having a look as a laugh, really, because usually the topics aren't that good. But this one jumped out at me, and I thought we could do this. And the topic is this. It came up with, did yes use AI? Analysing the controversial drum sounds on the Aurora single. And I thought, this is interesting. And it gives you, ideas, topics, things you can say. Basically, you don't have to think. Now, when I did review the Aurora single, and what a fine single it is, actually, I think the chorus melody vocal line is all right, but that's it. That's a hook, but it's 7 minutes odd. It's again, if you talk about AI, don't worry about drums, right? Don't worry about drums, right? Forget drums. Go and watch the video that they posted for it, because I did the single release before the video was put out. They put out this video release, and I watched it with the missus as a laugh. I said, this should be funny, because one, before even playing a second of it, I said, I imagine it's done by a fan. And two, there's going to be AI in it. Right? Look, here we go. Look, here's a bit from the video. Right? This is from the video Aurora. Look, there you go. Look, that ain't good, is it? And Mrs. said, look, they did. That's David Tennant. That is. They've done like Timu David Tennant. And I said, I think you might be right. Somebody in the comments actually mentioned David Tennant, but the best bit for me, if I can find it, is later on. And again, I've got to cue this up because finding things is hard. What you get here, right, is a fan's done it because they'll refer. Look, they'll put like fragile on top of the box. That's how you know a fan has been involved in this, because that's clever, right? And where he lives, he's got a pile of books that refer to various Yes albums too. It's all pretty Disneyfied and AI, and you have stuff like this. Look. So it's a pretty Disneyfied AI thing. But there's one bit that really made me laugh. And I've got to cue it up just right because you can't see it. Look at this. This is how you know it's AI. The car has got hexagonal wheels. It doesn't have any glass in the windows. It's the same colour as the house, same texture. Look at the boot. The boot's made of cardboard. You can tell they spent a lot of money on this. Of course, true Yes fans will say, it's stylised, Darren. It's stylised, and you're having a go. That's what they'll say. And I'll say, nah, this is AI fan slop. Or fan slop AI. And, but look, then when he gets in the car, look, windows everywhere. What's that all about? That can't be right, can it? That can't be right. And so yeah, this is AI I believe this is AI. There's something going on with it but not particularly good. And again, look, if this car had hexagonal wheels, would it be able to go down the street? No, it wouldn't. I've proved my point there. There you go. So it couldn't have hexagonal wheels. See, look, I don't know if you can see that. There's the yes balloon. Look, there's a yes balloon and Stonehenge. Wrong band. That's Spinal Tap. So yeah, I've gone a bit diverted. We was talking about drums, and I've gone and talked about the music video. So yeah, the great thing about the YouTube creator space is it uses AI to generate stories about AI that you can look at. So I thought, okay, forget the video being AI. And I'm guilty because I used AI on the cover of the new thing I did. So we're all guilty of it. But then, you know, when I do it, it's brilliant, and when everybody else does it, it's crap. That's the important thing to remember here. So we're talking about the drums on Aurora. Now again, Yes are a band I think their drummers are pretty famous, whether it be Bill Bruford, who went on to drum with the likes of that band and Bill Bruford, and then there was Alan White, who played with John Lennon, you know. And so, you know, their drummers are I think quite important components of the band. I think one of those bands where, you know, a bit like Genesis, where the drummer is important to the proceedings, to the feel, to the flavour, to the je ne sais quoi of said band. So I went into Logic Pro and put in the Aurora single, and I stripped the stems so we can listen to the drum track. Now I don't know if this is going to get a copyright claim, probably. Remember, you can join for as little as £1, or give me money using the PayPal link or whatever. But there's a good chance, even I'm doing this, Yes will want their money, because copyright, even though this is a critical review which is exempt from the copyright laws of the UK, here I am. So I'm putting on the headphones of shame. I'm going to have a listen to the bare drums. Now, sorry if I just deafened you then, but yeah. It will sound a bit fritzy. It will sound a bit fritzy because it's a stem split thing. It's not the actual stems. It's something. It's AI again. It's guessing what the drums sound like. But I think when you listen to this, you'll come to the same conclusion as me, right? I think you'll come to the same conclusion as me. So put your headphones of shame on. Right, got to make sure everything is switched over. And here's Logic Pro, and like the drums. So that's the drum track here, and what I've got it soloed. So all we're here is the drums. So let's have a listen. So you've heard that. Let's find a different dynamic bit. Like this bit here. Now I don't know what you think of that. I don't know. Oops, got a wrong bit up there. I don't know what you think of that, but to my ears, and I've been recording very amateurishly as an amateur. I'm an amateur recordist of some some calibre, in that I've been doing this man and boy since 1992. So you do the math. I've been doing this a long time, and using my earballs. I think those drums aren't necessarily AI. They're not AI. I think that there is some sample drums involved there. I think that maybe some triggered drums. I think that maybe it's not even a drummer. I think it may actually be drum loops. You know, they've used MIDI triggered drums. Now, it could be that the drummer has played the drums on a MIDI kit and then handed that MIDI data to Sir Steve Howe, who has then decided what drum sounds to be used. Again, the fact that every drum hit sounds the same dynamism, everything just sounds very, very clipped, very dynamic, very compressed. It could be a lot of compression used to make it cut through, but to me it sounds like sampled drums, you know, drum triggered, because everything is very consistent, very clean, incredibly clean, too clean. Again, if you've ever listened to a like a real drummer playing, there's you know, it just has a feel. There's a human feel to it. That's probably the best way to describe it. You can feel it. It feels very, very drum machine like. It sounds very, very rigid. There's no swing to it. There's no feel to it. And those samples used, again, bang, 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 bang. And that's a problem. I think that is a problem for the band, because, you know, I don't know how these songs are written. Maybe they're written to a click track and the drums are put in at the end. We'll never know. They're not saying. They're not showing us. I think, again, the way recording has changed, because a lot of recording is done inside the box, i.e. inside the computer, and, you know, super fast broadband has allowed people to send files to each other across the world. It could be, like I said, there was a click track or some temporary drums in place, and they've just swapped them out. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something. So I'm going to show you what you can do with drums, right? So what I need to do is we're going back into Logic. I'm going to open a drummer session. Here we go. Where did that go? Where has that gone? It's there. Right, so I'm going to solo this. Bear with me. I'm doing this on the screen as we speak because, like I said, I'm completely unprepared. I'm completely unprepared. This is something inside Logic. This is what I use. He said, "This is what I use. It's the it's a AI drum track, and you can go in and change things quite easily, change things up quite easily. So, like, here we go. So you see this here. You can even manually change the sound of those drums. So I've got that soloed. So, and this is AI drums, but we could see what we've done there. Now, to the layperson, that may sound perfectly fine. But what I do to really mix things up is I use something called Superior Drummer, which gives you a little bit more kind of expression on the samples. Got to wait for everything to load. And see, this is how I do it. This is how I humanize things. And so So when I'm using a different drum kit now, but you can hear the difference. Sounds a bit more human. And again, if we change the kit again, all the hits aren't at the same level. They're not all whacking at the same velocity. So that's one way of humanising your drums. But yeah, listening to that, your Aurora track, naked like that, I do think, looping back to the old AI thing, I do think that they've used some sort of sample drum kit in there, because it sounds very, very, very rigid, no feel to it. All dynamism is gone. It could be just very, very compressed, but I don't think it is. I think it's, like I say, sample triggered drums. No variation in feel or tone or texture. And that's not, I don't personally, it doesn't bother me, because technology, it's the way things have gone now. It may bother you. It may, because I use this stuff all the time in my own recordings, because I'm just here on my own. Again, maybe Steve Howe is, like I said, driving this project, and he's got a drummer that's based in LA or something, and he can only get maybe the MIDI data over, and he's made conscious decisions. This isn't the first time this has happened. I mean, it happened with the Union album. Again, famously at that point, Bill Bruford was playing MIDI drums, and so they had the MIDI tracks, and so they could basically swap out the sounds and tweak things. And a lot of the sounds and a lot of the stuff on that wasn't actually played. It was kind of manipulated and re-edited at a later point. Same with Rick Wakeman's keyboards. So it could be something like that. I've got a feeling that they're a little bit more flexible with the performance. So yeah. What do you think? What do you think? We'll go back and listen to. We'll go back and have another listen to that Aurora stuff. Where is the Aurora drums? There we go. And tell me what you think. Tell me if you think it's a real drum kit, real drummer, or it's some sort of hybrid thing where the drummers played and they've been kind of swapped out. Oh, bit of bongo there. The fills there sound a bit more naturalistic than the earlier stuff. Oh, that's the orchestral bit at the end, and they're obviously that's got to be from a sample pack. But yeah, this sounds very drum machine like that. Yeah. Whereas the other stuff with the fill sounded a little bit more natural. So yeah, I'll leave that open to you. What do you think of the drums on Aurora? Good performance? A bit overdone? A bit underdone? Real human? Is the YouTube AI algorithm turning against AI? What can we ascertain from this? Anything at all? I don't know. What can you say? Because we'll never know, really. And again, I don't think it's an issue, because bands have been tweaking stuff and creating. Would you call it false narratives? I don't know. Have been creating virtual performance spaces for a very, very long time now. Whether it be Yes or more like pop music, chart music. A lot of what you hear never happened for real. It's all happened inside the computer. So it could be just for out of necessity that they've used this Yeah, maybe it's I think it's a hybrid thing. I think it's a little bit of looping, a little bit of loop stuff with some sampled drums, and I think it's a little bit of performance. I think it's a little bit of both, using the best of both worlds there. But yeah, that's what we talked about. As the question asks, is it bridging the gap between legacy and technology? I think it is. Again, progressive rock or progressive music always use technology, so we can't really poo-poo this. If you look back at things like the mellotron or the various synthesizers, guitar synth, there's always been progressive music and technology, and this is an extension of that, right? So we've got an extension of that. But then we come on to the whole human performance thing. There'll be some who go, yeah, human performance is key, blah de blah de blah. I don't think you can do that in the studio anymore. I don't think the studio is a live space anymore. I think it's a bit more creative than that. It's a bit more virtual. I think it all comes down to what you see and hear on the road when the band plays live. That's the human side of things, and it's whether or not these artists can replicate the things they've done in the studio live on stage without the use of loops and backing tracks and whatnot. That's really the issue. Again, it's just where we are with technology at the moment, especially with AI. I mean, again, with all these other AI websites out there where you can just give it a prompt and it will create a track. This is going to happen. But yeah, I'll throw it out to you in the comments. Did Yes use AI? Well, they must have done on that video. The drum thing, I don't think it was AI. I think it was a hybrid concoction of live drums and MIDI triggered drums. And again, I reckon even Alan White would have done that if he was still available to play on this record. Again, I think Yes have been pretty open with using all manner of technology. So yeah, what do you think? Do you want a live performance? Do you expect a studio album to be as live as possible, or are you prepared for, like I say, this kind of virtual technology concoction? How do you feel about it? Or at the end of the day, it's whether or not it just sounds any good. And that's the bottom line, isn't it? Whether it sounds good or not. So yeah, that was the topic suggested, inspired. Apparently, it was inspired by user comments. Did Yes use AI? Analysing the drum sounds on the Aurora single. I don't know. Hopefully, you had fun with this. Hopefully, this doesn't get copyright claimed. And I'm sorry for whittering on too long. Thank you for watching. There's only one more thing left to say, other than I'll leave it to you to decide. But prog on.